Who here is positive? Quite a few people. Okay. Who here likes negative people? Not one. And yet we all get negative, eh?
Yeah.
So how do we get into negativity? This is the question, eh? How does one become negative? It's when you do not control your emotions. Right? So you let worry overwhelm you. You start worrying, and worrying breeds worrying, doesn't it? You start worrying about things that you can't control. Bad place to be. Because now you get into a negative mindset. You become negative, right? What does worry breed? If not sarcasm, criticism, and judgmental spirit of other people. Isn't it? Because you're in a negative space. So you will now start looking at others to make yourself feel good, because you are in a deep place. So you look at other people and say, oh, well, look at them, they're not so fantastic either. To make yourself feel better, but it doesn't really work, does it? It doesn't really work. And so then, oh yes, the sun is shining, it's going to be hot. Oh, the sun's not shining, it's going to be cold. Oh, the wind's blowing, I can't go outside. You see what I'm saying? It will suck the life out of life. Alright? It will chase away all of your friends. And the problem with being negative is, once you start being negative, you don't even realize that you are being negative. You always see the bad. Oh, Cyril Ramaphosa. Yeah, check what he's now gone and done. You know, you don't see the good that he's done. You just focus on the negative that he has done. Right? So now he becomes a target for you. And sarcasm and criticism and all those other things come along that help you get into such a negative space that you don't want to get out of bed. It's on the way to depression, isn't it? And you're feeding it. You're thriving on it. Now tell me, if you are negative, do you ever attract something positive? It's very, very seldom, isn't it? Because if I have to choose between giving a job to a negative person or a positive, I'm going to choose the positive person. Because I don't want to be around a negative person. It's almost like a magnet with the poles that are opposite that repel, that push you away from that person. You don't want to be in that person's company. They're just a downer, man. Right? That's your choice. Storms of life happen to everybody, isn't it? You've got to ride the storm, isn't it? You've got to become a surfer. You've got to ride the wave and come out on the other end having learned something, isn't it? Otherwise the storm got you down. It's like getting caught up in one of those waves that tumble you and put your head in the sand and your feet over your back. You know what I mean? Because then storms of life are going to come one after the other. Because God says that I have my way in the whirlwind and the storm. You're supposed to learn a lesson in that storm, and then you don't need to go through that storm again. Right? But if I'm negative, I don't learn the lesson, the storm comes again. And again. And again. And you say, why am I so bad luck? Nothing good ever happens to me. Right? It all starts with your attitude. Are you guys with me? We're going to have to start making a fire one of these days. It's getting chilly, eh? All right, so worry. What about unbelief? What about you don't believe in yourself? If you don't believe in yourself, you're never going to try anything new, isn't it? You're never going to try skydiving and realize that, hey, I love skydiving. This is great. You understand? I'm not going to get colour in my life. If I have unbelief, I'm going to sit at home, use my alcohol, use whatever drug or whatever to escape, and sit there flicking the channels because nothing satisfies me. Because life is empty. It's all in your attitude, isn't it? A positive person, yeah, I can't wait for the weekend. We're going to go camping, we're going to go fishing, we're going to go hiking. Whatever the case might be, he's enjoying what life has to offer him. He's positive. And so he draws a lot more positive friends. He's got a lot of people around him. He's a popular person. Right? And he's always being invited out. So his life looks so colorful. And you're sitting in your negativity at home. Yeah, this sucks. Isn't it? Living the same life with the same opportunities. But your different outlooks on life, whether positive or negative, are shaping the color of your life. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
But we get caught up in the trap of negativity so easily because there is a lot of negativity in the world, isn't it? Around us. But if you're going to get sucked into that whirlpool, you're going to remain there. And the thing is going to suck you down. Unfortunately, that's how it works. Right? So it's your choice. Self-condemnation. If you're never going to try something. A positive person is not a perfect person. A positive person has tried stuff and says, oh, well, I don't like that, or I can't do that, but I'm okay. I can do this and I enjoy doing this. It doesn't make him a perfect person. It just makes him a person of discernment. You know, I'm not a good mechanic. I'm not going to go and try and fix my car. But I'm great with computers. So I'm going to encourage that. I'm going to make that good and better and excellent. I feel good doing that. I'm not going to go and try and do stuff that I'm not into. You see what I'm saying? A positive person can laugh at themselves. Isn't it? They realize where their shortcomings are and they're okay with that. They're okay with themselves. A negative person is a person who always sees all his shortcomings and never tries to find what's positive in his life. He gets sucked into the whirlpool of negativity. And then what happens? Manifests in violence. If you're a guy, 9 times, well, some chick says, well, it manifests in violence so that because you're angry inside. Right? You're angry at the world, you're angry at yourself, you're angry at everything, you don't enjoy anything, it sucks the life out of you. When you actually do something that you enjoy doing, you don't enjoy it anymore. I can use an example of when you were at school, you were prestigious at athletics. As soon as you started hitting a negative trait and started using drugs or alcohol, that fell by the wayside. Something that you enjoyed doing. Suddenly you turn around 10 years after you've left school, you're now 28, and you haven't gone out and run around the block in 10 years, let alone done anything athletic that you used to so enjoy. What happened? It got sucked out of your life through negativity. You focused on the negative instead of on the positive. Right? So it's a matter of focus. Because we all got good and we all got bad traits. You know, you get two people brought up in a house with a pastor as the father, and the one's a drug addict and the other one's successful. Both brought up in the same house, the same conditions, different outlooks on life. You see what I'm saying? It's up to you. Then there's just, what does it lead to? Negativity. It can lead to laziness, isn't it? There's a lion outside. Can't go out, too dangerous. Ooh, did you see that? They attacked a guy in Soweto, but you're saying in Lanseria. You know, but the lion's close to home. You see what I'm saying? Negativity can suck life right out of you. Okay, so now I find myself, I don't have a job, for instance. I'm at home. I can make a choice. I can sit at home and send out CVs, or I can go out and send out CVs and go door to door and go to friends and say, yes, like there's nothing going, you know what I mean? I can get out of the house and see a bit of sunlight. Or I can stay in the house and stay in the shadow. Choice. 9 times out of 10, when you get out in the sunlight and you start chatting to people. There was a guy, this is an actual fact, in this Australian church. They had a evangelist, a guy who comes and just preaches once or twice in the church. And I I'm not too sure how it came out. Oh, the pastor of the church was praying for people for jobs because there was a lot of joblessness. Now this evangelist walked onto the stage and he said, look, let's get practical about this. We're praying to God for jobs. Is this the body of Christ? Yes, it is. All right. Who's looking for a job? People put up their hands. They say, well, okay, what job are you looking for? And it's a big church. It's like 8,000 people attending. What job are you looking for? Oh, secretary. Anybody here looking for a secretary? Yes, I am. Okay, you contact him. And so he went through and he got just about everybody who put their hands up a job right there. Sometimes you're praying to God for something. Yes, I'm not saying don't pray, but to do something practical, let people know you need a job, man. You know what I mean? Don't sit on your spiritual lazy boy in the shadows of your house and expect God to do everything for you. He's already died on the cross for you. He's made a way to heaven for you. He's made a way for you to walk in positivity and innovation and use your brain. Right? Am I harassing you guys? Yeah. Procrastination will breed negativity because you're putting a thing off. How many of you here know that you have to do something by a certain date and leave it to the day before? Isn't it lekker when you just do it on the Monday because it's due on Friday and it's done and the rest of your week is free? You feel, wow, it's done. Huh? Isn't the rest of your week positive? That little nagging thing, yes, I've got to go and do this and I've got to get to it. I don't really like it. I have to do it. It messes up your week. Isn't it? Isn't that called denial? You see, we tend to do they put stuff off. And that brings negativity into your life. Because now it becomes a mountain. It's always a bigger mountain in your mind than the actual doing of it. Isn't it? Right? So, yeah, we've done judgmental and criticism. Emotional weakness will bring you to a place of negativity. If you cannot control your emotions. Because everybody gets negative. Right? We all live in a body. And stuff happens in the world to all of us. So you've got a choice whether to walk in negativity today or in positivity. I guarantee you the fruits of your day will be very different. Very different. So are you going to allow something that you can do nothing about to influence your day and make your whole day negative? This is the question. This is a choice you've got to take or make, right? It's your choice at the end of the day. Especially if it's something that you can do nothing about. You know, your son or your daughter is using. So you're praying for them and you're speaking into their life and you're doing everything you can, but are you going to walk in negativity because you cannot get them straight? Or is it going to suck your character into a negative place? Is the question. At the end of the day, they're over 21 and they've got to answer to God for themselves. Yes, you love them. Yes, you can do what you can for them. But you can't live their lives for them. I've got an ex-counselee, she's now 54, but looks about 74, whose daughter has been to 39 rehabs. She just doesn't get it, that her daughter does not want to live a straight life. And she prays for her, and the daughter comes home, she gives her another chance, and she slicks her out of everything in the house, and off she goes, and on another binge, and she stays clean for a month at a time. But the mother will not draw a boundary. And today, that mother is sitting there asking me to help her out because she hasn't got food in her house. At the age of 55, the daughter is still on her own. See what I'm saying? You've got to draw a boundary in your life, man. If somebody's going to suck the life out of you, are you going to marry a guy who beats you up 3 times a month? And just remain and receive it and pray to God and say, Lord, help him. Until he beats you to death. Because it's going to affect your life, isn't it? You have the power of choice whether to be positive or negative. Which side of the battery are you going to sit? You've got to have some commitment in your life. You've got to take control of your life. You're the master of the ship. You steer it where it's going to go. Right? You steer it into the will of God, into the current in the sea that God has made for you to be happy in. Nobody else on earth can give you happiness. You choose. Today I've said before you life and death. Choose life. Why would you die? Isn't that horrible to live a negative life? You're caught up in spiritual death, man. Eh? Life sucks. Is that what God made you to be? No. You see what I'm saying? The devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy, bro. Comes to steal. Comes to steal, suck the life out of you. Make you negative. Because when you're negative, how can you ever believe that anything good's going to happen to you? Because then you're just not good enough for God. You're too much of a sinner for God to save. Right? You'll never aspire to be anything if you're in a negative space. I had a counselor who was in bed for 3 months in a depression. She only got up for a delivery of food to her door. And then eat every second or third day. Straight back to bed. That's how bad it had got. How bad she had allowed it to be in her life. That she didn't even want to get out of bed. She didn't want to see sunlight. Curtains are drawn. I'll escape by sleeping. It's hectic, huh? It's a bad spot to be. 1 Corinthians 13:13 says, and now belief, expectation, and love remain, these three, but the greatest of these is love. Tell me, when you are negative, who are you loving? Who are you loving? You think you're loving yourself, but you're not. You're actually irritated with yourself, isn't it? You see, negativity comes from a brokenness. There's a brokenness that hasn't been fixed, and you're too scared to go there to heal that brokenness because it's too painful. Or you use it as a protection. If I don't go out of my house, then nobody can hurt me. That's a lie. That's a lie. You can be hurt right in your house. But the thing is, if you're not going to deal with the root problem, then you're just going to put a plaster over the wound. Alcohol, drugs, sex, rock and roll, I'm okay, putting on a mask, losing yourself, don't even know who you are anymore because you've worn so many masks. Horrible place to be if you've lost yourself. Right? You've forgotten who you are. If you don't know who you are, how do you know what you like? How can you aspire to get color in life if you don't even know who you are anymore? It's a lie. I'll protect myself. I won't admit to anybody that I've got a problem. I'll hide it. I can handle it. I can deal with it. No, you can't. No, you can't. You need God in your life. You need a healer who knows you intimately and accepts you. Right? So, your Bible, this is the scripture version that says, now belief, expectation, and love remain. That's faith, hope, and love. Right? These three things remain. What remains? Faith, hope, and love. Without hope, what are you? You're negative. Isn't it? Without faith in God, that God's going to give you, bless you with good things, what have you got? Negativity. An expectation of the opposite. God is good, I'm only going to get bad things. Right? Without love in your life, what's left? Fear and hatred. Right? fear to go out, fear to try stuff, hatred of people because they're successful. I can remember my brother was telling me that he was down and out and on the streets many years, sitting on the pavement and just watching people go past in their lacquer shiny cars, and now this hatred just welled up in him for people who were successful. Not realizing that he never wanted to get off the pavement. Right? But the jealousy, that envy of successful people wasn't even enough. That hatred was not enough to get him off the pavement. It was only the love of God that got him off the pavement. He was lying one night in a room, in a pool of his own vomit. And he woke up choking on his vomit, passed out in a drug-induced coma, basically. And he heard the Holy Spirit just say to him, if you continue like this, you will die. Yeah. And that was his turning point. Because he realized that he'd heard from God. And God loved him enough to say to him, continue like this, make a choice. Because if you continue to do this, you will die. So he turned from the negative to the positive. And he started this place. From a pile of puke. Not a pile, a pool. From a pool of puke, there he is today in heaven. From one choice to turn from the negative and start seeing who he was. And it was a process, a 13-year walk before he opened the rear. 13 years of finding out that God actually loves him and he can be positive and he can positively help other people. Turning point in his life. Right? You guys with me? Yes. We could do this all day, eh? That's why I'm passionate for God. I come from the same place as my brother. God took me from the very gates of hell and brought me out. I'm telling you right now. 35 years a drug addict. 35 years. I don't even know anybody who's done drugs and alcohol for 35 years and survived. By the grace of God. There was no purpose in life and no hope in life until I met Jesus. I tried everything else. I tried Buddhism and I tried Hare Krishna. Excuse me. Looked into all kinds of Eastern religions. None of them satisfied because there was no real person involved. There was no real relation. All works-based. I will appease the gods by doing this, and then they'll be happy with me, and then I'll be blessed. But I never got blessed. I never got blessed. So, anyway, Matthew 9:27. Excuse me. It says there, and as Yahweh passed on from there, two blind men. Oh, that's Yeshua. Sorry, it's written in Hebrew in this Bible. It's like little strokes and funny. I can't read Hebrew. Check how negative I am now. Okay, so as Yahweh passed on from there, two blind men followed him, crying out and saying, Son of David, have compassion on us. And when he came into the house, the blind men came to him and said, Yahweh said to him, and Yahweh said to them, do you believe that I am able to do this? And they said to him, yes, Master. And then he touched their eyes, saying, according to your belief, let it be done for you. And their eyes were opened. And when they went out, they made him known in all that land. Can you imagine being blind? And having enough faith in somebody to go to them and say, heal me. Hey? Can you imagine doing that with anybody? That's faith, isn't it? And he said to them, okay, because you have shown such faith that in front of everybody you were willing to come and show it and say, Master, touch me. Willing to make a fool of yourself because of your faith. That's the kind of faith that moves mountains. These are people living in a time when Holy Spirit was not in them. Holy Spirit only came after Jesus went to heaven. Holy Spirit came upon them. we've got Holy Spirit in us, and we don't have faith like this. Why? Because we're not practicing it. Why? Because we're not meditating on the word enough to know that God cannot lie. He's not a man. And if he says something and promises you something, it's a done deal. It's a done deal. They got it. They realized this is Jesus Christ. This is the Son of God. He can do anything. I believe that. They got it. And their faith brought results. Now imagine if they were negative. They'd have still been blind until they died. Because they would not have got off their bums and gone to him and said, Master, you can. Right? So the one got, because they're positive, they wouldn't have got if they were negative. A negative person would never, ever, ever believe that somebody could heal their eyes with a touch. It goes against intellect. Doesn't it? Doesn't it? He's not a doctor. How can he heal my eyes? Are you guys with me? Yes. You see the power of positivity. Power of positivity. Positivity is belief. Positivity is not just intellectual understanding that this could be. Positivity is spirit to spirit. I know that God cannot lie. So why must I doubt? Right? You guys getting something? Isaiah 43 verse 1 to 5 says this. And now thus says Yahweh, your creator, O Jacob, and he who formed you, O Israel. Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by your name. You are mine. Okay? So now, who's Israel today? Believers. Are you a believer? Because if you're a believer, he's saying to you, I have saved your life, right? Redeemed you. Through my blood. Right? I have redeemed you. I have called you by your name. You've got nothing to do with this transaction, is it? Is it? You think you made the choice. No, you didn't. God turned your heart to make a choice because he has called you. He called you. He gives you life, right? I've called you by your name. Andre, you're mine. Right? Now he's got a liar. Will he forsake you? Will he leave you? When the storm comes? Where's God? Still there, faithful and true. Right? It's a matter of belief. If you know this, no storm's going to get you down. If you know that you are redeemed, he has called you, because it's not about you now and your feelings and your emotions and your up and down and your negativity. It's about God who cannot lie and has said, you are mine. Who will come against you? What man can stop you or stop God from saving you? Now the question is this. Here comes the storm. Woo, yesterday I lost my job. Right? Now, positive or negative? God is with me. He said that he's redeemed me. He said he'll never leave me. He said I will supply all of your needs. Or, whoopee, I've got no money. Which report are you going to listen to? Because now if I tend to go towards the negative, what am I going to do? I'm going to look for a chance to hook something. Isn't it? Because negativity is going to breed sin. Because it's a lack of faith. You're not walking in faith. When I'm walking in faith, I'm going to hit my knees and say, God, okay, well, you said you'll supply all of my needs. I've got peace with that. I'm okay. And now God can start talking to you and say, okay, well, let's get our CVs out. Let's try this. And now you're praying towards, okay, God, I've sent my CV out to 5 places. Which place is the one that you want me to get a job at to choose? I can choose which one I want. You see, that's positivity. God works in that space. Whereas the negativity is, I've sent 5 CVs out, but it's like there's hundreds of people who apply for those jobs. What chance have I got? God can't work with that because there's no faith there. God can't work in negativity. Well, He can, but He won't. Why should He? Because if you're working in negativity, you're going to take the glory, not God. So, how does your faith get tested? If not in the storm. Isn't it? Your faith's going to get tested. It's just like the blind man's faith got tested. Here comes Jesus, quick choice, because He's walking past. Am I going to get up and say, Master, heal me? Or am I going to, it's just another prophet? Positive, negative. With God, all things are possible, which means positive. Right? With man, nothing's possible. That's everlasting. The man without God equals failure. Look at the world today. Run by people without God. It's a mess, isn't it? It's a mess. I mean, where's your mindset if you are polluting the very water that you need to drink for life? It doesn't matter because I'm going to make a lot of money out of it. Huh? You're killing yourself, bro. The Bible said madness is in their hearts and then they die. Isn't that madness? Isn't it madness for me to be corrupt in the government, just for instance, and steal as much money as I can? Doesn't matter about the people who are starving, where the money should have gone to. If I steal as much as I can with all my cronies, we're going to be okay. No, we're not. Because you're going to collapse the economy. And then your money is going to be worthless. You can make fire with it. Now where are your children? Stupidity. The intellect of man becomes totally stupid in the eyes of God. You see what I'm saying? I'm just using some examples now. So if you are not trusting on God, you're walking in negativity. To whatever degree. Does that make sense? I've got a lot of scriptures here. We can go till about 11:30, eh? No? Okay. You can leave. No. Isaiah 43 verse 1 to 5 says, well, I want to read them all. But now thus says Yahweh, your creator, Jacob, and he who formed you, Israel. Do not fear, for I have we read that one, eh? Isaiah 43. Sorry, we did read that one. Isaiah 44 1. But now, yeah, Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. Right? Thus says Yahweh, who made you and formed you in your mother's womb, who helps you. Do not fear, O Jacob, Israel, who I have chosen. For I pour water on the thirsty and floods on the dry ground. I pour out my spirit on your seed and my blessing on your offspring. These are promises that if you have accepted God, this is what He's going to do. Right? So, now if you're negative, will you receive this? Is the question. Right? He says a negative man is like a shrub in the desert. Goodness will pass him by, and he won't even see it and recognize it as being a good thing. Because negativity can't see anything positive. So you can place yourself in that situation. You can be born again, you can believe God, but you can place yourself in a negative situation where God cannot bless you. So you cut off your blessings in this world that God is predestined to give to you because of your mindset. Isn't it? Are you guys with me? Does it make sense? So walking in negativity is giving Satan power in your life. You're giving the negative, the anti-God, power over you and in your life. Because I cannot give if my hand is closed. If his hand is closed, he cannot receive it. His hand must be open to receive. Right? And that's positive. Ooh, God's going to bless me. Ooh, no, not worthy. See the difference? Yeah. Then you say, oh, why is God always never blesses me? Check what he does to Pastor Kevin. The problem lies with you. Problem lies with you. Because of your negative and unbelieving attitude. Quite hectic, isn't it? Eh? It's the truth. It's the truth. Shall we do one more scripture? Are you guys getting something? Eh? Yes. Okay, let's do Isaiah 41:13. It says, "For I, Yahweh, your Elohim, your God, your Most High, am strengthening your right hand and saying, do not fear, I shall help you." How is he strengthening your right hand? He's saying to you, do not fear. Because when you fear, you're in negativity. When you are not fearing and saying, God, you've got my back. You have said that you've redeemed me. You have said you'll fight my battles. You have said that you are faithful and true. You are always with me. You have said that you are going to bless me. Doesn't look like it today, but I'm standing in your blessing and I'm expecting. I'm expecting a blessing here because there's something coming against me from the dark side, the negative side. And I've got to say in the positive, give me strength. And show me that you are my God. God can work with that, isn't it? Because you're acknowledging him now and expecting him to come and work like he said he would. Right? Positive. God works in that positivity. Lord, you said you'd be with me, but I'm not so sure. I've sinned a lot. In my past, I've been a failure, and I'm actually, in the eyes of the world, I don't even trust myself. He has a storm coming here, but you said that can God work with that? You're not giving him the glory of at least having enough faith to believe that he cannot lie. How can he open your blind eyes? You're still sitting there, you're not even asking. Right? See what I'm saying? The power is in the belief. These three remain. Faith, hope, and love. Right? Belief. Believe that what God has said. You can't trust yourself. We know that. We know that. Just check our past history. But why are we judging God on ourselves? As if he was a man. If God cannot lie, then you can stand on his word and say, God, you say. It is written. You can quote that and get into the positive side where God can work in your life. And by doing that, little by little, your faith will grow. Because you'll see God come through every single time because God loves you. Right? So it's a process. It makes sense, right? Yeah. Makes sense. But it's tough to get out of that negative mindset, man. Eh? So we brought up to believe that the world is against us and we need to claw our way and kick our way and fight our way to the top and just take it. You know what I mean? And God works the exact opposite. Get something.
Yes,
If you can grab this, it's life changing. It's life changing. Because now suddenly you're opening the channel of faith, and God works in that. He just blesses you. Suddenly you're walking in joy in the storm. Bring it on. My God is for me. Who can be against me?